Hey everybody, and welcome to my Demon Souls playthrough, subtitled The Red Pill. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames. If you haven't already, I hope you subscribe and like the video and leave your comments down below. If you've been watching my recent playthroughs of Dark Souls, you know that this is all about the manosphere, the red pill, masculinity, dating, and men being men in a very, very different world from what it used to be. I just hit the new game option. And okay, we're going in offline mode because guess what, guys? Look in the upper left-hand corner. This is not Demon Souls. And it is Demon Souls. It's not Demon Souls on the PlayStation 3. It's Demon Souls on the PC. Emulated with RPCS 3. So, I hope you guys are excited for this. I know I am. Whoops, let's on-shift that. Excuse me, I'm still sick, as I have been in the previous episodes of Dark Souls, the Manosphere. Changing gender settings will cause edited data appearance. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Actually, we're going to be a male. And instead of the soldier, we'll go with, how about the knight? The knight is such a great character in this. Of course, magician. No, correction. Which one is it? Royalty. Royalty is also really cool. However, in this case, I think that we're going to stick with the knight. I just love the longsword. It is a great weapon. Excuse me, it's been a great weapon pretty much throughout the entire series. It was best in Demon Souls and Dark Souls. They nerfed it a bit for Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, but it's still good. Really don't care too much what my character looks like. He does look kind of dumb like this, so let's see if we can, I don't know, maybe change it up a bit. Hairstyle, we're not going to go with spiked. Parted center, I don't know. Let's do wild. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We'll go with black hair. That's good enough for me. So why are we calling this the red pill? Because, guys, we are talking about the red pill as it pertains to the manosphere and masculinity. Just so you know, since we're playing this in 60 frames a second emulated, the cutscenes do not play properly. That's fine. We skip them anyway. So, yep, we'll skip that one too. And boom, here we go. You're going to see Demon Souls played in better quality than you've ever seen it before. All right, let's see. Can we do the helmet? Nope. So we are going to take the helmet off as well. Actually, you know what? We're going to undo that and see if we can put the helmet on. Probably not. No, darn it. Well, there we go. Watch this. Yes, it's so smooth. It just looks great, doesn't it? It just looks amazing. I don't know if did I fix the issue with the vertical sync? I think I did, right? Yeah, looks like it. Okay. So when it comes to, yeah, I don't see any horizontal screen tearing. When it comes to the red pill, we're talking about the reference being made by the sort of masculine manosphere community, specifically by Rollo Tomasi in his book, The Rational Male, referencing the scene from, whoops, The Matrix, where the idea is that you're either the plugged-in beta male, the blue-pilled beta male, or, we're going to turn the volume down here. We're going to turn the music up. There we go. How about that? Or you are red pill, unplugged from the Matrix. You see things the way they are. You recognize reality for what it is. And I think that will be a great topic of discussion. However, it is pretty much what we've been talking about in the previous two playthroughs I've done. So it's nothing terribly new for my playthroughs, but I hope you guys still enjoy it. There's so much to discuss, and those that are watching this and haven't seen the other playthroughs certainly are going to get a lot out of it. For this first episode, we'll discuss something we talked about in episodes 9 and 10 of my Dark Souls the Manosphere playthrough, and that is how to create and maintain your frame. So what is frame? Frame is essentially the narrative. It's the framework of operation. It is the entire basis of how you live your life, who you live it for, why you're doing what you're doing, who you're doing it for, all of that stuff. Everything is wrapped up around frame. You are always operating within somebody's frame to one extent or another. And the idea here is that as a man, you want to be operating within your frame. And right now, we're operating within Demon Souls. By the way, guys, this is not perfect. The emulation is not perfect, so you may see some flickering, some graphic texture issues. and you may occasionally see some slowdown. It's not that the PC can't handle it, it's that the emulation has to get caught up, you know. But I think it's about time that we can actually do a playthrough of this game and not have too much trouble. Again, I'd love to wait until the emulation is perfect and just plays flawlessly at 60 all the time. But you know what? It may be a long time before that happens. Even just seeing these guys fall in the water, every so often I see like a little glitch or graphical issue. That's okay. Not a big deal. We'll live with that. It still looks and plays so much nicer than on the PlayStation 3. And I no longer have my PlayStation 3. It's gone. So can't play it on the PS3 that I don't have, right guys? Warp to the new area? Heck, why not? Today's drink of choice is black coffee hot. Oh yeah. Oh, here's one thing I'd like you guys to post. This will date when I'm actually recording this. I'm recording this on January 9th, 2020. And I posted on Twitter something that's going around. You put out 4 things. How you like your eggs, your steak, your preferred alcohol drink, and your preferred warm beverage. I think most people for warm beverage are going to go with coffee. Most adults will go with coffee. Maybe a few people will pick like hot chocolate or a chai tea. I used to love chai tea. I'm not into refined sugar anymore. I do try to avoid refined sugars. Check this out, guys. This just looks really, really good for emulation that is not all the way there yet. It's running in Vulkan. Now, for those of you that don't know, when it comes to PC, you have several graphical APIs or application programming interfaces, I believe it stands for. It's essentially how you interact as a programmer, how you interact with the graphics card or with the sound card or sound chip. How do you interact with that hardware? Now, normally, games run in DirectX. That's Microsoft's graphical API. There's also OpenGL, which is an open graphics language standard. And then there's Vulkan. This is a new one, which I believe is in coordination with AMD. Although I don't think it's definitely not exclusive to AMD. They're not exclusive by any means. But it is certainly a really cool API. And wow, I failed that What the? Okay, you know what? I get the feeling that parries are off because of the 60 FPS thing. So that may be an issue. We'll play with that more when we're not fighting a tough enemy like the Knight right there. The Havoc engine works. You can flip bodies around, which is interesting. I thought that might have been broken, but no, it works. So we were talking about, you know what? It's too risky to try parries on these guys. Again, we'll experiment with some easier enemies that don't do as much damage. Come here, buddy. Right there. That move, I love that move. The one-handed R2. Awesome stab move. Frame. Frame is the context in which you operate. Who you're living for, what you're doing everything for. Frame is the overarching narrative. There's a frame everywhere in every aspect of life. People have their frame. Businesses have frames. Organizations have frames. Governments have frames. It's always the underlying beliefs, the assumptions that you act under, the things that you take for granted. Frame is often just taken for granted. It's just assumed, right? For example, when most men and women get together for a dinner for the first time and a dinner date, they go on a date, men and women, the common frame in the United States is that generally it's assumed that the guy will pay. Now that is slowly changing. There's a change in the overarching societal framework in which it's now more acceptable for the woman to offer to pay for her end of it, for the guy to suggest that they, quote, go Dutch and they both pay for their own meal, or that they split it 50-50. Oh, wait, I'm going backwards. However, the frame still doesn't really allow for the woman to pay for it all. That's never going to be an expectation, generally. I hate to say I sound like a millennial. That's never usually how it works. I have never heard of any couple assuming the woman will pay. That is not in the framework of how society functions. So, again, frame often operates with assumptions, just things that we assume to be true. And these are often both positive and negative. Sorry, I meant they're often negative, but sometimes positive. and sometimes neutral. An example of a very negative frame for men is that when there's an act of domestic violence, who do we assume is the perpetrator and who do we assume is the victim? We've talked about this before. We talked about this in my Dark Souls, the Manosphere playthrough. Again, because of our societal framework, because of the frame in which we function as a society, we generally assume that if there is an act of domestic violence between a man and a woman, then the man perpetrated it and the woman was the victim of it. Of course, studies are indicating that this is not actually a reliable assumption, that men and women are equally likely to initiate an act of domestic violence, and that men and women are roughly equally likely to be both perpetrators and victims. So men may be just as likely as a woman to be a victim of domestic violence. However, the framework we operate in does not assume that. And so frame changes a lot. And the most important thing about this episode I want you to take away is that you need to have your frame for you and your life. If you are not even 18 yet and living with your parents, that's going to be very difficult to do. You can establish a level of frame no matter your age and no matter your situation. Oh shit. Woo! Can't believe I didn't get hit. Wow, that light looked really cool. Right there. Woo! But is that supposed to be shining through? Like that? I don't know what that is, but whatever. Let's see if we can kill this guy without dying. So far, so good. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, there we go, okay. I don't like him to be backed up against the wall like that. Okay. This guy is definitely reminiscent of the Asylum Demon, but then again, to state that more correctly, the Asylum Demon is reminiscent of him. Because this guy came before the Asylum Demon in Dark Souls. Demon Souls was before Dark Souls, obviously. Is that a clipping issue where the light is clipping through right there where it's not supposed to be? Because I don't remember that light being in the game. But hey, it looks cool. Right there. Looks cool. You get some like God rays or something going on right there. Damn. It's blinding. Come on, buddy. Oh, really now? Really now? Really now? Really now? You gonna break this stalemate? There we go. Back up. Okay. So when it comes to frame, you want to establish the frame for you in your way, for your purposes, to achieve your goals, to achieve your ambitions, your life mission. Why is that important? Well, sorry if you're a millennial and you want to believe in like 50-50 equality between the sexes, but it just doesn't work that way. The sexes operate differently, they function differently. As a general rule, true almost all of the time, women generally want the man to sort of lead in a way. Not that he's the boss and decides how everything's going to work for everyone all the time, but she wants you to know what you're doing, know where you're going, know what you're trying to achieve, have goals and ambitions and dreams of your own. She wants you to have your own life, to have your own friends, to know how to take care of yourself, to have your finances together, to have your sort of your life together. She wants to come into your life. I'm talking about your future girl. She wants to come into your life and be impressed and know that she's entering into something worth having, worth experiencing. She doesn't want to come into your life and be like, oh, okay, well, you don't know what you're... Wow. Okay, so this is an issue. I have not encountered this problem before, guys. Yeah. Emulation issue. Obviously. Okay, so the light is coming from the dragon. That looks terrible. But, or it's coming from behind the dragon. Hopefully that does not become a major issue throughout this playthrough. We'll see. If it's a huge issue and it's happening a lot, then obviously you'll never end up even seeing this playthrough. Ooh, that's blinding. I think it's actually hurting my eyes. As if it's the real sun. I think there's an item up here too. By defeating the Vanguard Demon, he will not appear at a later point in the game. And we also get to pick up some items in this area right here. So this whole area you don't get to see if the Vanguard Demon defeats you. You're meant to die to that Vanguard demon, by the way. That's really what the intent is. But if you don't die to him, you're guaranteed to die later after you encounter this dragon. So your reward for defeating the Vanguard demon is not only his soul and not having to deal with him later, but you get all of these items. Alright, and as we walk in here, he will inevitably kill us. There's nothing that can be done about it, so there. We're dead. So how do you maintain your frame? As we discussed in the Dark Souls Manosphere playthrough, for those of you that are watching all of these videos, and I appreciate it if you... Oh, wow. Okay, well, guys, I don't know why this light thingy is happening this way. This was never a problem before, so... I don't know. It's not even consistent either. We're gonna have to figure that out. Let's see if we can splice. I'll bring this episode back in just a second here. I'm going to splice another episode after I relaunch and hopefully fix this problem. Hey everybody, and welcome back. Well, we fixed it. I think I fixed it. So we're still in episode 1, but I believe I fixed the issue we had with the lighting. So it's no longer shining through. I updated RPCS3, the emulator, and here we are. I think now we go to the Archstone of the Small King. Let's do it, guys. There's a little tiny bit of audio crackling. I thought I'd fix the problem, but I suppose not. So this is very much imperfect emulation. We're just going to roll with it as is. The drink of choice is still hot black coffee, although I'm actually recording this part. Whoa, some of the cutscenes do work. I'm recording this part of the episode at a later time. So I do notice that there's some slowdown right here. But that's to be expected. Oh, let's try that again. By the way, I practice with parrying, and it does work. Just the timing seems like it might be ever so slightly off compared to what it used to be. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just remembering it wrong. Maybe I've been playing Dark Souls for so long, I forget that these two games are very different. So, we'll see. If I need to make any more little tweaks to the emulator, we'll do that as we are able. This gate right here only opens based on, I believe, world tendency. So, interesting. World tendency, something I do not like at all. We may talk about that more. Oh, shoot. My bad. We may talk about that more later. There we go. Today's episode continues to be about how to maintain your frame. To me, it's another day to use the same episode. So how do you maintain your frame? Well, I think... the foundation of frame, other than, you know, self-confidence and knowing who you are and where you want to go in life and having your goals and dreams and ambitions, your mission, I think it's the 4 Fs. And we've talked about this in a previous episode. I don't know how much I mentioned it before because it's been a minute since I've done this. Oh, shoot. Whoop. Uh-oh. Well, that's... Oh. The flailing begins. There we go. I haven't played Demon Souls in a long time. Gotta get used to the controls. They're very different. Well, I say the controls. What I mean are the timings and kind of the very specifics about character movement and whatnot. It's different from Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2 is different from Dark Souls. And then Dark Souls 3 is different from Dark Souls 2, and Demon Souls. So they're all a little different. I got close to parrying, but not quite. The 4 Fs, and I would kind of put them in this order, although you can't necessarily rank them, that you should be doing all of them at once except for the last F, which you should leave until the end so you don't waste money. And what are the 4 Fs? They are food, fitness, finance, and fashion. I turned this into a 4 Fs thing because it's easy to remember. It's one of those, what do they call it? Mnemonics? Is it a mnemonic? It's some tool to try to remember something without having to remember everything independently and individually. Really? Okay, I want to see if I can get a backstab here. What's going on with that? Is there something wrong with the backstab mechanic at the moment? Oh, yeah, did you see that? I don't know why, but I'm not getting a backstab there. I wonder if backstabs are messed up. What's interesting is even though the game is slowing down at times here, I can see some stutter. The frame rate is still being reported as 60. The frame rate is not being reported any differently. So, that guy jumped to his death. That's interesting. Oh, Okay. Trying to backstab him, and that didn't work. Can I get him to move? Or is he just gonna maintain that? Yeah. He's gonna maintain that crossbow the whole time. Too bad, buddy. You gotta switch it up. When someone's right in your face, can't be using a crossbow. Here we go. Oh, yeah. I'm playing this at 1920 by 1080 and 60 frames per second on the latest version of RPCS 3 as of January 9th, 2020. The 4Fs, guys. The reason I would recommend the reason I would recommend possibly leaving... Yeah, there we go. Fashion until the end is for a very good reason. If you're not in shape, if you know that in the next 6 months you're going to lose, say, 60 pounds of fat, which, by the way, is doable, 10 pounds a month. It's very doable. They tell you that you can't do that. You shouldn't lose more than 2 pounds a month, but that's pretty pathetic. But let's say you're going to lose 50 pounds of fat in 6 months. You're hardcore, you've done it before, or you know you can do it, you're confident, and then you're going to lift weights and gain 20 pounds of muscle, okay? Well, if you're going to lose 50 pounds of fat and gain 20 pounds of muscle, do you really want to invest $1,000 in a whole new wardrobe right now that's going to fit very differently and look very differently on you in 6 months? So if you need to, put the wardrobe on hold just long enough to get your fitness in order. And part of fitness, of course, is your food. I would put food first on that list just because it makes a huge, huge difference what you eat. A huge, huge difference. I do not think you can out-exercise a bad diet. I just don't think that's a thing you can do. I think you're going to run into nonstop frustration if you're trying to eat like garbage all the time, constantly snacking on garbage, and then just bust your butt at the gym and think that that's going to work. It may work for you if you're young for a short period of time. Oops, we saw some clipping there. The imperfections of emulation. But I don't think it's going to work long-term, especially as you get older, especially for those of you 30, 35 plus. I noticed that once I hit about 30 years old, I started gaining a lot more weight. Not a lot, but, a lot more than before, based on what I was eating. I could eat pretty much the same thing I'd always eaten, but I couldn't maintain the weight I'd always maintained. So people refer to it as your metabolism slowing down. I don't think there's anything remotely accurate about that statement. I don't think that's scientific at all, but whatever. We'll use that terminology. Your metabolism slows down. That's a placeholder for what's really happening with your body. I think it's insulin sensitivity that becomes a big issue at that point. Oh, let's see here. Got him. Yeah, sometimes I feel like backstabs aren't working the way they're supposed to here. Maybe it's just me. So start with your food. That's where I would start first and foremost. You can save a lot of money by just buying what you need. Yes, it's more expensive to eat healthy, but that doesn't mean that you have to buy all grass-fed beef, because that stuff gets really expensive. Ideally, yeah, buy grass-fed beef if you can, but it's too much for me. I can't afford grass-fed beef all the time. I mean, a tiny little steak is like $16. So, no, I can't do that. I need a packages of steak for $16. Eat full-fat yogurt, drink full-fat milk if you can handle lactose. Enjoy foods like steak, bacon, chicken, eggs. You can also enjoy some of the better carb sources. Yeah, like right there. Why was that not a backstab? Some better carb source. Okay, yeah, I think it's got to be something about the emulation throwing backstabs off. Rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes. Those are better. Oats, those are much better sources than your typical wheat that has all the gluten in it that a lot of people have trouble with. And that does seem to give people digestive issues. There we go. So your diet should consist of you eating foods because they're good for you, because they give you beneficial nutrients. Sorry, still sick from the previous episodes, guys. And because they have some actual substantive benefit to you. So the idea here is you're not eating foods just because they taste good. Now, granted, I don't expect you to eat stuff you don't like. I don't like mushrooms. Not a big fan of fish. So I just don't eat them. I wish I did like fish. Fish would be great. Fish can be really, really healthy for you and really good for you. I take fish oil for the omega-3s. But I just don't like fish itself, unfortunately. Bummer for me, I know. Trust me though, guys, I would definitely eat fish if I could. Yeah, I'm not happy with the slowdown I'm getting here. I didn't experience any during my testing, but then again, I didn't go all throughout the game. Let's see what we can do about getting these punks that are shooting at us. Got them. So food, fitness, finance, and fashion. As for fitness, if you've never worked out before, you need to lift weights. Hit the gym. Do a 5x5 program or do a starting strength program. Those are the two that I always recommend, especially for newbies. If you're new to it, do one of the... I swear that something about the emulation is screwing up the backstabbing. Okay. Oh, the one thing about this game, though, is sometimes they will not have their shield out, but it'll block like their shield is out. So, it's one of the bullshit elements of Demon Souls. Like, even if they're going through an attack animation where their shield is off to the side, it sometimes still counts as their shield being up. Which is bullshit, but, you know, these games are far from perfect. Sometimes it is the game's fault. And sometimes the game is to blame. Yeah, a lot of slowdown now. When I was trying this out earlier, no problems whatsoever. It was a fluid 60. But anyway, I probably should get a new PC at this point. I have a GTX 1080. I'd like to get a 2000 series. I don't need it, but it'd be nice if I could. There we go. This guy's going to be fairly tough, but we can handle it. As long as we can keep getting those backstabs. I'd like to draw him out away from there so that I can get to his back more easily. He loves that charge attack, doesn't he? Oh, got him. So, lift weights. Don't just do cardio. What an asshole. Did you see him do that? Did you see him eat that? Oh, shit. Did you see him heal up? Like a punk? And that should have been a backstab, I'm pretty sure. I don't think backstabs are that picky in this game, right? Food. Damn. Keep letting him do that, don't I? Food, fitness, and finances. Now we're on to the finances. Best way to get your finances in order is if you have debt, focus on taking care of that debt first. You don't want to try to... Damn! I don't remember this guy being such an asshole about healing. I don't remember... Yeah, I don't remember him giving me this much trouble like that. There we go. We have to get on him at the end there. He loves to heal up. Punk. We can't get in here and need a key we don't have. Finances. Don't spend money that you don't have. That's the biggest one. Get your debt in order to the best of your ability. Get a better job if that's what it comes down to, or get a job if you don't have one. Get some revenue coming in. You want to be making some money. If you're not making any money whatsoever, then yeah, obviously that's an issue. Yeah, that really sucks that now I'm starting to experience some slowdown here. It was playing very, very smoothly and nice. But I may tinker with it later. But, you know, we talked about it, guys. It is emulation. It is far from perfect. We didn't expect perfection. Come on, let's get that backstab. Fishing for backstabs. Got him. Backstab fishing like a scrub. The blue-eyed knights are easier than the red-eyed knights. In case you were wondering. Now you know. For those of you that haven't played this game, is it worth buying a PlayStation 3 just for this game? Well, at this point, given that you could buy a PlayStation 3 for like 70, 80 bucks, and you can get this game for 20 or less, so you're looking at $100 to play this game? Yeah, that's probably worth it. I mean, if you're a big Souls fan and you haven't played this one yet, you need to. So if you're not, if you're not the type to emulate it, if you don't have a powerful gaming PC and you don't want to put up with the limitations of imperfect emulation. By the way, they put these barrels here so that you can see this guy do that. He often does that before you reach him, so it kind of shows you what happens with the barrels. So a lesson there for you. Fire will activate fire oil barrels, whatever they are. Oh, he done felled. And this game has something that the other Souls games don't have, at least not... I don't think any of the other Souls games have this. It has gender-specific outfits. There are armor sets that you can only wear if you're female or male, which is interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I would probably say no to that overall, just because I don't like the idea of feeling limited by your choice of gender in the game in terms of the equipment you can use. Now, if there's a specific set that is very, very particular about it, like let's say they had a set called the Temptation set, and the set specifically tempted male characters. Oh, I forget there is no plunge attack in this game. Then yeah, it makes sense if only a woman or a female character could wear it. But other than that, obviously, a man could put on a woman's clothing as long as it fits, and vice versa. The Cling Ring. Probably the ring you'll spend the most time with. You'll spend the most time wearing, because when you're in soul form in this game, it cuts your health in half. But if you wear the Cling Ring, you gain back a quarter of it. Or, I'm sorry, 25%? Yeah. So instead of having your health cut by 50%, it's only cut by 25%. So having an additional 25% health is a great thing. And that's your maximum health bar. If you look at my health bar up there in the upper left, you'll notice that there's a part extending beyond where there's sort of a cutoff point. That part that's extending beyond the cutoff point, you cannot fill that up. You can't restore that through magic. You can't restore that through healing grasses, which, by the way, are the items you use to heal in this game. You use grasses. There is no refillable healing source. They're all consumable healing sources. So you will at times want to farm grasses. You'll want to defeat enemies and purchase the grass so that you have enough in stock. It's like Bloodborne. You don't have an automatic refillable source. Bloodborne had the blood vials or blood gems, whatever they were. Blood vial? This game has grass. Excuse me. This game also has some truly bullshit moments. Let's get out of here. That's not one of them. That's not one of them. I wasn't talking about that moment. I'll show you in a minute here. This weapon is unupgraded, but the longsword is a great weapon, guys. Trust me. Here's a truly bullshit moment. See how this ledge right here is up above you? Now, granted, either the game believes you can't cross over this ledge or you can. You cannot jump in this game. You cannot jump. You can only roll. But watch this. If you push at just the right angle... Oh, okay. But then I went off the side too far. I meant to go up there. So, it's... Yeah. Is it bullshit? Absolutely, it's bullshit. There's no reason you should be able to cross at that point. It's just sort of an imaginary crossing point. There's no indicator whatsoever that it's a crossing point. It just is a crossing point. So, why do they do that? I don't know. There's no way to know that unless you just experiment or happen to know it ahead of time. That's Ostrava. He gave us whatever item he gave us. I think it was binoculars. We got to make sure he doesn't die. Which means defeating these punks. And the good news is Ostrava will fight with us. Because he's cool like that. Look at this guy. Look at him trying to sneak up on Ostrava. No, you don't, punk. Come here. Come here. Yeah, you like that? You like that? Let me, you know what? I'm going to come around and get this guy from behind. How's that sound? Got him. By the way, you can hit Ostrava. There's no way to direct your attacks so that they don't strike. I mean, if your attack swipes where Ostrava is, it will hit him, period. Just end of story. So even though he's fighting with you, if he's fighting an enemy, you can't get right up on top of the enemy right with him and just start wildly swinging because you'll hit Ostrava. Ostrava is this game's Solaire, basically. That's how a lot of people think about it. I think that's a pretty accurate description. Only thing that sucks about these Souls games is sometimes I'll go to take a sip of my coffee, and I'm like, oops, I messed up. This is not the time for that. And I can't put the coffee cup down fast enough to respond, so I end up getting hit or failing to dodge. Because if I go to put the coffee cup down too fast, I'll spill it. By the way, if you have a fire attack, you can hit these with fire, like a fireball magic or what's that? There's a throwable fire item, and then you'll ignite this whole area, killing all the enemies. Oh, got him just in time. That is a really good attack right there, that R2. The one-handed R2. I love that one-handed R2 piercing attack or stab attack. It is really great, but they nerfed the longsword in Dark Souls 2, and I think Dark Souls 3 has some of that limitation as well. Oh, I didn't know he was still alive, and here I am backstabbing him. Instead of a kick, you have a push in this game. Watch this. Whoops. Let me see if I can do it. There. It's right there. It's a push instead of a kick. Again, I usually, if I ever do it, it's by mistake. If I want to do it, I can't. Here, let me try to do it. There we go. It is very inconsistent. It's a really shitty control scheme, and I wish there was some way to change it, but there's not. Alright. The problem with this, even in emulation, is although I could change the button controls for the basic layout, I can only change the controls that exist to other buttons. Excuse me. I can't take controls off of a button and put them on a different button. The emulator doesn't allow you to do that. So, although I could swap the R1 attack button for, say, putting that on the X button or the A button, I can't remove, say, for example, I can't remove the run from the same button as the backstep, from the same button as the dodge or the roll.
No matter how far I venture, only the soul staff remain. Is there?
You can get Ostrava's sword and shield too, so I think they're called the rune set. Bring it, punks. That swipe attack right there is, or I'm sorry, that jumping stab attack is really good if you're in a narrow area where your sword would hit the wall. So it has quite a bit of utility. Damn, who's shooting me? Who's shooting me? Got him. Remember, when it comes to backstabs in the Souls series, you need to backstab where the enemy's back would be at the completion of their current animation. Their back does not move with the animation that they're performing if they're in the middle of, say, an attack. Their back always counts as being where it would be at the completion of that animation. And that's why sometimes you have to be slightly off-center from their back if they're in the middle of a wind-up attack or if they're in the middle of recovery from a big major attack, especially if they're like with a heavy weapon. Oh, he fell. This game also has a lot of places where you're supposed to fall down onto ledges, and it sucks as much as all the other Souls games. Platforming in these games has always been terrible. The good news is, you are rewarded a bit more for killing lower level enemies, because although they give you just a crappy soul amount, like a very low amount of souls, the benefit to fighting weaker enemies in this game versus some of the other Souls games is that you continue to get grass items that drop, so you can continue to restock your consumable healing items. So that's a big benefit to fighting enemies that don't normally give you much in the way of souls or items, other items that is. Farming continues to be useful, because even though you're getting a very, very basic low-level grass from these lower-level enemies, those low-level grasses can still be of great value. If you're just outside a boss fog wall, you don't want to blow your better grasses. Like the late moon grass heals much more than a crescent moon grass, but if you're not in the moment fighting, if you've got time, then just pop 3, 4, 5 moon grasses, regular crescent moon grasses. Don't waste a better grass, because save those for when you're in the moment in the heat of battle and you need quick healing. All right. So let me see. We're at about 40 minutes total, counting the first part of this episode. 50 would bring us to 34. So around 40. I'm going to make these episodes about an hour. Roll, my balls. Roll. There's a part of Demon Souls where you need to know how to roll your balls, guys. To defeat your enemies. The 4 Fs. We talked about them, guys. Food, fitness, finance, and fashion. Get in shape. Food and fitness will take care of that. Get your bank account in shape. Get a job, get a better job, get a promotion, save money, stop spending money on junk. Learn how to get out of debt. Stop putting stuff on a credit card that you don't need to put on a credit card. Here's a suggestion. Try to pay for stuff with money that you have, not money that you think you'll have in the future, if that makes sense. So, if you want to order a pizza with your friends, if you don't have that money in your bank account, if you don't have that money after paying all of your basic bills with some left over in the account for emergencies, don't put it on a credit card. Do not put clothes, pizza, all that stuff on a credit card because you can't afford it at the moment. Now, if you want to put it on a credit card for reward points, I mean, I have an Amazon Visa card and I get Amazon reward points for it. So, you know, you can get dozens and dozens of dollars worth of reward points from that Amazon card. So I've saved literally dozens and dozens of dollars on Amazon purchases that way. And I always pay the card off before it rolls over. I have never let it roll over with interest. That's the key to the credit card. You don't spend money that you don't have. You only spend money that you have. So the credit card is a tool. Of course, you know, some people could say, well, you know, you might need to use it in an emergency when you really need to buy something, but you can't afford it in the moment. Sure, but leave those for true emergencies. Pizza is never an emergency. Learn to cook. Learn to cook basic stuff, guys. Learn to make chicken, steak. Learn to make rice. Learn to make potatoes different ways. Learn how to cook up pastas if you can handle it. If your body can handle the carbs of pasta noodles and all that, spaghetti with meat sauce, and learning how to make this stuff will save you a ton of money because a lot of millennials and younger people are just buying everything. They're using these takeout programs. They're using Grubhub and all these other things where they pay someone else to make their food, and then they're even paying someone else to deliver their food. I think that's where you can waste a lot of money unnecessarily. Oh, shit. I thought the dragon was going to get these guys, but maybe not. Oh, shit. Bad timing on my part. Alright. Now, these guys with the spears can be a little tricky, because they will hide behind their shield. And stab you from behind their shield, and those spears do have some reach on them. Yeah, see, that guy keeps getting me, little punk. And see, they are relentless at times. And they have the turpentine that, oh! And they have that turpentine they like to throw. Yeah, I'm still getting accustomed to Demon Souls. You'll notice I'm getting hit way more than I should. Let me try to activate the dragon, see if he'll cast the fire here. Hello? Do I just not know how to do this? There we go. Alright. Even though it's the dragon burning them, you still get the credit for it. I think we can make it all the way across here. Oh shit. Not until we get rid of the dragon first, though. I really hope I don't die there. Uh-oh, there's that light again. Let's hope that doesn't clip through everything. So it looks like the light source is always there. You just can't see it if it's being blocked by something. That's interesting. So if you're ever outside, the same light source is always there. And it is freaking bright. There we go, we made it. I thought that's how we could do it. Let's pull that lever and boom. We've now opened up the path from the Archstone to the boss. It was that big giant portcullis gate at the beginning of the area that we opened up. Watch this. What? Just kidding, it's right here. I always think that that wall is breakable there. I don't now, but I used to always think that somehow I could break through that. I never did, though. Where's the dragon at? Oh, he's not going to come down this way? Alright, let's get out of there. Whoop. Okay, here we go. We gotta let this guy shoot once. And then go at him. Oh. Come on, drop me a grass. Drop me a grass! Okay, no. Excuse me, no grass. Saw some interesting shadows from emulation errors. I know what this game should look like for the most part. I played it quite a few times on the official hardware. So one of the other things you should do to maintain your frame is to be confident in yourself. Have an irrational level of self-confidence. Also, even though you may not feel it all the time, you should be your own man. Don't feel like you need anyone else to figure out where you're going in life. You can get advice from people, but not from a woman. If you want to impress a girl, you're never, ever, ever going to get anywhere close to impressing her if you ask her what you should do with your life. She doesn't want to hear that. She wants you to know what you want to do with your life. Get that stuff figured out. If you don't know all that stuff quite yet, then most likely you're not ready for a serious relationship. Rollo Tomasi, in his highly recommended book, The Rational Male, recommends not settling down in a monogamous relationship with one woman until around age 30. Now that does depend on several factors, so there's no hard limits here. You can't just say 30 straight up for everybody. It depends. If you're 21, wow, it's highly unlikely you're ready to get married in today's society. And plus, when you consider women and how they are nowadays, their maturity level, where they're at financially, and where they're at in their stages of life, women generally aren't ready to settle down that young. They're going to be in their party years. They're going to be in their prime years for sleeping around, for seeking out highly attractive men. And so it's not a good idea to try to lock down a woman in a stage of her life where she's likely to just end up leaving you for another guy, or cheating on you, or divorcing you because she thinks there are better opportunities out there somewhere. Let me see what's over here. Can you jump down there? You can't. Well, no. Okay. I always wondered if you could jump down there, and I've never bothered to do it. I was going to try it this time, but better not to try that experimental stuff live. Or while recording, rather. How about that? Got him. So you'll notice that you can get quite a bit of grass. If you hear a little audio stuttering or crackling, that's the emulator. Demon Souls does not normally sound like that. If you hear the crackling of fire, that's how it does normally sound. Oh, did you see him disappear for a minute there? That's also an emulator issue. Now, what the heck? How come I can't get around this guy? Usually I can get around him. I think it's the emulator that's causing the hit detection issues. Maybe not. Maybe it's just that way. By the way, these guys can drop the 2 basic upgrade materials. You need 1 upgrade material for dull weapons, or like mace, or even maybe axe type weapons. Maybe, I can't remember. There's a sharp stone and a hard stone. One is for sharp edged blades. The other is for dull, like hammers and things of that sort. Oh, we got a hard stone, which is not what we need. We don't want hard stone. Now, hard stone will work for the shield, I believe, upgrading our shield. But I want sharp stone to upgrade our longsword. I will not and have never farmed these guys because they're not in a convenient place to do so, and there's better ways to farm these items that don't take long to get to. By the way, check this out. We have now opened up the small portcullis on the side at the beginning of this area. We've opened up that one across from us, straight across, to get those items inside there. So we've opened up those 2 small portcullis doors and the large portcullis leading to the boss. If you wanted to, you could go back to the Archstone. However, when you think about it, there is no benefit to doing so, other than just restoring your health bar. You'd have to fight through the enemies, just like you would in Dark Souls. All these enemies right here would be restocked, as well as the whole area. I did not go to the dragon area in this section. I might go there later. There are some items to be picked up there, for sure. I just got to remember the quickest, easiest way to get there. So the fog wall looks a little funky. It's not being emulated properly. It's not usually that glitchy. In this case, what we want is to use our turpentine and our fire bombs. So this enemy is weak to fire, big time weak to fire. If you can hit the actual boss itself, you'll do a shit ton of damage. God, Lee. You see that? Now this area is glitching out a little bit. Not sure why, but whatever. I'm going to heal up just a bit because I don't want to die here. That would be stupid. And then I'm going to apply this to my weapon, and here we go. Watch this. Do a ton of damage to him. Okay, the danger here is I'm getting hit by a ton of those enemies all at once. So we're going to heal up again. Toss a turpentine. Oh shit, I've used the wrong one. Whoop. Yep, if you can hit the main enemy's body, you'll hit all of the smaller enemies on top of them. Ah, I switched my weapon out and I got rid of the fire, darn it. That was my bad. That's okay, we got a little more. Now, I don't know... I can't remember if these got... Golly, little fuckers. I can't remember if they drop their materials if you let them die with the boss, or if you have to kill them all individually. I think they're more likely to drop their materials if you kill them all individually. So I think there is a benefit to killing each one of those little phalanx type enemies. And it looks like we only got 2 upgrade stones. That's lame. Now, what's interesting is if you can use some, let me see if we have a tool to return to the, user loses souls and returns to the Nexus. I wonder if you come in here, if you don't mind losing your souls, if you could just kill all the little phalanx guys and then return to the Nexus over and over and over again, collecting all the upgrade materials. And you get the demon soul from the Archstone. Like all the other Soulsborne games except for Dark Souls, the teleportation points in this game are just that. The Archstones / bonfires / lamps of Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and Bloodborne all do little more than teleport you. Granted, you can do more in Dark Souls 2 and 3, I believe, at those. But in this game, it's just like Bloodborne. Pretty much all you can do is just teleport. So we have to go visit the Monumental up here before we can use our souls. And in case you're wondering, you can't use your souls until after you complete this Monumental thing, which means you can't use your souls before going into that first area. So the souls you got from earlier in the game, if you die and lose them, you just lose them. You cannot level up until you complete that first area there, defeat that boss, and then go talk to this character known as the Monumental. After that, the Maiden in Black will open up the option to level up. But you can upgrade if you happen to find enough upgrade materials. We're going to stick with the longsword. Actually, I went the wrong way, didn't I? We're going to stick with the longsword because it's a great weapon. It's a really simple weapon. We may change it up part of the way through, but we'll see. If we do, that'll be my decision. Yeah, we can't get up to that area until later. That area opens up later. This is where I meant to go, I think. Yes. The one with the candle in front is the only one that appears to be still alive or active. And we skipped all that stuff. So, an interesting thing about this game is there are items hidden throughout this area. I think there's one on the other side over here in the Nexus. But this is the Nexus. It's the equivalent to Dark Souls Firelink Shrine.
Now it is your turn.
Is there an item over here? No, okay. It's also the equivalent of the Firelink Shrine in, yep, see? In Dark Souls 3, or the equivalent of Majula in Dark Souls 2. Or the Hunter's Reprieve, whatever, the Hunter's area in Bloodborne. There's always kind of a hub area in these games. And now let's see. I don't think this area's opened up quite yet, but we'll give it a shot. Nope, this one. Because there are some items up here when the door finally does open. Nope, not yet. That's fine. So, food, fitness, finances, and fashion. Once you get your fitness in order, you've gotten your body kind of mostly where you want it to go. You think you're going to be looking that way for a while, or at least long enough, it'll be worth investing in some new clothes. And depending on what clothes you were purchasing before, you may have to redo almost your entire wardrobe. I recommend getting away from the cheap stuff that everyone wears that looks just pretty bland and what we like to call the, quote, basic bitch, unquote. Just the stuff that every average chump is wearing. That includes your sandals, especially your sandals with socks. Don't do that. Your cargo shorts, your graphic t-shirts. You know, that's just your usually oversized, but not always oversized, but usually oversized t-shirt with some sort of graphic design on the front. You know, maybe it's a big Adidas logo, Nike logo. Maybe it says something about alcohol or beer. Maybe it has a funny message like no coffee, no worky, or some silly thing like that. You may think it's cute and funny. It looks dumb. Women are not impressed by it. If you're dressing so that other guys will laugh at your shirt once, other guys you don't even know and care about, then sure, you could do that. But is that a corpse right there? Yeah, there is a corpse right there. Let's how do we get to that? It's right there. Can we get there from here? No. No. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how to get to it. We'll figure that out later. Let's roll on down here. Oh, by the way, yes, you can die in the Nexus. And if you die in the Nexus, you will lose your body form if you're in body form. But if you die in one of the game worlds, you do actually push that area closer to what's known as, what do they call it? Black world tendency. It makes the enemies tougher, but the drops better. And if you do, what else do you do in it? If you defeat if you defeat the bosses and don't die in there, you push it towards white tendency, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on the tendencies, guys. It's been a long time. But white tendency means the enemies are easier, but they drop less stuff. Black tendency means the enemies are harder, but they drop more stuff. And the more you die in an area, the more black the tendency becomes. It is much harder to turn an area white than to turn it black. So if you don't want an area going towards black tendency, then it's actually recommended that you kill your character here in the Nexus and always stay in soul form. That way you never die in human form in one of the worlds that will cause you to push it towards black. Oh, we do use hardstone. Okay, I didn't know that. So what is sharpstone for then? I wonder. The kite shield. Again, just like the other games, number one priority. Always, always number one priority. Before leveling, before anything else, upgrade your weapon. Huge difference when you upgrade your weapon, guys. Repairing in here takes a little bit more than it does in Dark Souls, in my opinion. Okay, we won't be able to use any online multiplayer, unfortunately. We are playing on PC emulated, so there are no servers that I'm aware of. You level up one at a time, and it shows you how much you gain. So if I level up my strength, I'll gain 1 attack power, 2 physical defense. If I level up my dexterity, no attack power, no safer landing, and 2 on physical defense. So you get to see for each level how much you gain from it. More stamina, more equipment burden. Okay, now we're out. 1039. We have enough souls to get there, so let's do that. 1039. Plenty. Alright. So for this one, we're not going to do any magic, any faith, or any luck. Or intelligence, for that matter. Really, intelligence would be down here with these, in my opinion. We're going to focus on vitality, endurance, strength, and dexterity as needed. We'll see. Strength is really where we're going to be at. Okay, we did 1 into vitality. Excuse me. Let's see. I'm pretty sure we can't wear that. But there is a ring we're going to get that is kind of like Havel's ring. And we're going to use that. This game uses 2 basic set points for your equipment burden. I think it's above 50% and below it. 50% or above and under 50%. As long as you're under 50%, you can fast roll. If you're above 50% or at 50%, I can't remember what specifically it is, then you do the slow roll. There's only 2 roll speeds, and essentially 2 roll speeds. I think players have done tests to find out that there's technically a very, very minute difference in roll speeds for much lower weights. But essentially 2 roll speeds is what we'll say. And here's the soldier character that we have in most of the Souls games. Not Bloodborne, obviously. This guy right here is your bank to deposit items. It's really important to drop everything off here that you don't need, because if you look at these items, this says 0.1, 0.1, right? This is 0.2, 0.2, 0.5. I'm going to drop that off. These have no weight, so you don't need to worry about those. But everything else, when it has that number there, that's a weight. What that means is that your character has a total amount of weight that he can carry. Once you exceed that weight, you can't carry any more stuff. So be aware that unlike all the other Soulsborne games, this game has total weight limit to inventory, not just to what you're wearing. So you can exceed your weight inventory limit and not be able to pick anything up. So you'll have to start dropping stuff in the game world in order to pick something else up. So that's definitely something to be aware of. Alright guys, I think we'll go ahead and call the episode here. It's a great place to do it. I want to thank you for joining me. Today we talked about how to maintain your frame. We'll talk about that more in the next episode, but we hit the 4 F's. Those are the keys. Food, fitness, finances, and fashion. Once you get all those in order, you'll find a lot of the rest of your life will start to fall into place, as long as you maintain your goals and your mission and your focus being on you and where you want to get in life. So you don't get your life together so that you can live for somebody else. I hope that makes sense. I am Fox with FoxeoGames. Thank you for joining me for this playthrough. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, like the video. You can hit the bell icon next to subscribe so you always see my videos. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. Twitter is where I'm most active. And if you do leave comments down below about the discussion points, if possible, please put a time code so people can go to that point in the video to see what you're talking about, if possible. But I do read all the comments. I do really appreciate them and hope that you leave one for me to read. I will see you guys in the next episode of Demon Souls, The Red Pill. Later, guys.